Hi folks, welcome to my Bit Retro Journal. Today I'm going to be working with SuperBASIC, the built-in basic programming language that came with all QLs. Used to be really into BASIC. I'm not as much anymore. I like I like programming in C++ and C. But the cool thing about BASIC on the QL is that it's like a scripting language. It reminds me a lot of Perl, used for Linux and Unix, and of course Bash and C Shell that come with it. Even a little bit of Python you can use to do that kind of coding. But I wanted to show you, so what I'm working on is, if you saw, I did a video earlier this year on QStar 1 and QStar 2, which were these games written by a QLer on the QL forum, and they're really cool, and you can see videos of QStar 1 here. And I just did a quick clip 5-minute video on QStar 2 here. And one thing, and I'll show you, when the QStar 2 came out, I kind of talked to the author and I said, hey, why don't you just make them all a single game, because they're very similar. And he said, well, I wanted to run an original QL, and I was worried about memory needing more than 128K. So here's QStar 1, and it has, best stat, boot, init levels, readme, sprites, title, bold. If you look at QStar 2, it actually has the same files. The only difference is that the sprites file and the levels they're all different. They have different information in there. And so I thought, well, what if I created a single one? And you'll see that's what I have built here, where I I just renamed them 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2 for QStar best levels and sprites, and bold, init, and title are kind of the same. Although I created the title one. So QStar 1 will say QStar 1, QStar 2 says QStar 2. So I just kind of erased it. I'll show you what it looks like. Bytes, MVV4, oops. Title that 131072 is top of your image, your video memory. And yeah, so I just deleted the one that was there, or the two. I figured which one I used. And yeah, so you'll see that so far what I've written is let me what happens if I do load MVV4 boot, and I was just going to finish it for you just to show you how there's some of the cool things you could do with this. Yeah, it's really hard. So I'm going to put it in the high-res mode. Hopefully, it's too much wrapping, so let's see if this is better. I think it's a little better. So what you have here is, besides my usual doing asking for a device and loading toolkit 2, notice that I have I've got 3 dim statements. And here I just basically dimensioned 4 by 11 or 12 characters, so an array of 4 by 11 or 12 characters for each one. And then I added QStar, best data, levels, dat, and sprites, which is the baseline. And then for QStar 1 and 2, I have one for each. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to write a program that renames from this to this, and it just makes sure there's no collisions, right? And then I also wrote a little bit of an intro where I actually, let's just run it because it's kind of cool. You'll see what it does. Device MVV4, and it's going to load my, it's going to load toolkit 2 first. So it needs toolkit 2, and if you don't have it in ROM, I just loaded QStar. So that's my modified sprite, and then it just asks for player 1 and 2, and then you click it, and you either do the 25 level version where you switch which one you are to move, and the 10 level version you actually transport to where they are, so you switch. That's what the second one is. Right now it doesn't work, obviously, so let me just do that, because I haven't finished it yet. So let me show you what needs to be finished. Again, load mdb4 boot. And yeah, I'm going to do this in this editor, but I think hopefully I'll talk through it, because I think it's going to be too messy if I do it. If I stay in this mode, I mean, it's just so hard. It just wraps so many times that I mean, look at line 25 wraps like 3 times. Yeah, I want to do it in mode 4 in the higher, and then it's a little better. Hopefully, I think you can read it. So what's left to do, if I go all the way to the bottom, is I've left the setting up QStar 1 and 2 alone. So basically, once I choose key F1 or F2, it either is going to jump to 100 or 150 on my routine. So let me show you what I'm going to do. So what 100 is, I got to add some code for that. And so 105, basically, we're going to go sub, I think I can write it as a single word, 75, to tell it, hey, we're, yeah. And then what I want to do for 110 is I want to check, and there's a built-in function with Toolkit 2 that says file test. It sees if it exists. And here what I want to do is, and I have to sort of create the, and I'm going to see, hey, I'm QStar 1. Does QStar 2 exist? Because if it does, if it doesn't, then that means QStar 2 is the current one. And so I need to call QStar 2's current routine to rename itself back to QStar 2. And so then if it doesn't exist, then I'm just going to go sub, and I don't know what the address for this one is right now. So I'm just going to say 150, but it's not 150 because it's somewhere in, let's say 155 right now, but I'm going to have to change that because I don't know where that is. What did I screw up on? Oh, if it doesn't equal 0. So basically, the ftest 0 will come back and say, hey, the file exists. If it doesn't exist, go to 155. I'll have to fix what 155 is. Okay, and then, so at that point, if QStar 2 was the current one, i.e. QStar, it would have been renamed, but it could have not been as well. So, because I don't have Toolkit 2 loaded at the moment, that's why. I just looked, so generally, this would be capitalized, but it's not currently a keyword. It will be when QStar 2 is loaded, so I'm just going to capitalize it. Just to keep things neat. Oh, it didn't capitalize it. I wonder why. Okay. Maybe because QStar, yeah, so edit. Let me delete it and try it again. If, oops, 110, if ftest. The device to, if QStar 2 doesn't exist, then I want to go somewhere in to the 150 range to clean it up. Yeah, ftest would be capitalized, but it's not because Toolkit 2 is not loaded. That's interesting. Okay, and then 155, I'm going to do the same thing. If I don't exist, if I don't exist, that means because if I just changed QStar to QStar 2, then I would have had to exist. But if I don't exist, so maybe we're in this in the base mode of no one's been renamed yet. So if I don't exist, is that true? Let me think about this. Oh no, if Q, I could do it either way, but if there's no current one listed, that means we're all, then I'm going to rename myself. So I'm going to go to oops, this is not 150, it's 115. If I don't exist, then I'm going to go to my own routine and change myself to the current one. And then when that's done, I'm going to go to 200, which is where the game starts. Yeah. Do I like that? A little bit of cleaning up. Oops. Yeah, let's get rid of the extra spaces because it'll make it a little tidier. Why didn't it? Sometimes I literally... Oh, it doesn't like that. Okay. So next one will be now at 120. So this is where the interesting part happens. So what I'm going to do in 120 is I'm actually going to loop through, and I'm going to rename. So 120 is where I need to rename myself. Rename dev and Q1, oops, Q1I to QR, dev dollar, oops, and QR, the current one, I, and do it for all of them, and then when I'm done, I return. Boom. Yeah, and 125 is, so I need another one that says, so this will rename me in my Q*1 state to Q*, but I also need to be able to revamp that to go the other direction, so I'll make that 125. And this is going to rename, if I'm in Q* state, I'm going to rename myself back to Q1. Yeah. And that's it. Let's list it again. And so the other one is going to be quite similar. So basically what I can do is just go, so that's going to be 155. So edit 10. And that's going to be 155, but this time I'm going to see, hey, does the other guy Q1 exist? If so, then I want to go to it's 125. So if the other guy exists, then they should rename. If the other guy doesn't exist, that means they're Q*. So then, hey, change yourself back to Q*1. So that's what that one does. And then edit, I can edit 155. And then similarly, if now after that, if that doesn't exist, this is 160, then I go to 165, which is just like I went from 115 to 120. To rename myself, and then when I'm done, I go to 200. See what that looks like. Yep. And then I basically just need to repeat these up here, and that's going to be 165 and 170. I see, right? So here I want to change my. So this is going to be this is going to be 2, and this is going to be 165. And then edit 125 is just going to become R to 2. And that's going to be 170. Yeah, I think that'll do it. Did I miss one? Oh, I did miss one. Yeah, okay. edit 170. That should be 175. Oops. And that should be that should be 170. You'll see what I missed. And yeah, that should be 165. And that should be 160. What I forgot is at 155, I was supposed to go sub to 75. And again, if you mode 4 list, you'll see that the whole thing looks, it's hard to see this, right? So I was supposed to go to 75 and then test if the other guy exists, have him rename. Otherwise, if the other guy doesn't exist, that means that the current one, have him rename. If if a current one doesn't exist, that means I need to rename myself the current one, which is so that's 170 now. So 165. So that's going to be 170. And then this guy up here is going to be 175. So edit 105. So that's going to be 110. Sorry, that's going to be 175 because so that's very symmetric, right? So if Q2 doesn't exist, go to 175 and hey, current is set to Q2, return. If current doesn't exist, then go to 120 and say, hey, set myself to current and return, and then start it up. This is the opposite. It says, hey, if Q1 doesn't exist, tell Q1 to reset itself from current to Q1. And if current doesn't exist, then tell myself to set myself to current and then go to 200. And that's it, but that's pretty cool. It's a few lines of code. MDV4 boot. And, oh, it already exists, yeah. MDV4 boot, save MDV4 boot. And, yeah, it already exists. I mean, because I don't have Toolkit 2. If I had Toolkit 2, it would just ask me to overwrite it. So Toolkit 2 really fixes a lot of shortcomings in this. But yeah, so let me show you now how this runs. I'm going to reboot and switch monitors. Okay, I'm back. I had a few typos that I had to fix, but I think this should work now. I'm going to hit F2. And so this is now, should be renaming all of the F2s to just regular run ones. And then it should load the game. See how that goes. Yep. The beep's is a good sound, and hopefully soon it'll actually, it loads the game. And just going to load the splash screen. So again, first it did all the renamings of the files, and now it's going to, here it loads the game. This is QStar1. That's its QStar1 splash screen. And I'm going to hit English. And again, it's going to show the instructions, and it should go pretty quickly. Again, it's the loading from the micro drive, even if it's emulated, it just takes a while. It's just one of those things that it's a bit frustrating. But here it goes. It should load the instructions. There it goes. And then I think this part is going to be pretty fast. Because once the game's loaded, it runs, yeah. So press any key to start it, so the game loads really quickly. This is, again, QStar 2, where if I hit space, the two players alternate. And then if I quit the game, I can quit it. So let me show you, I'm going to jump to the screen again and show you that this time, again, from this mode, I'm just going to reboot and show you that I can do, back to this screen, and this time I'm going to hit F1, and you'll see that it's going to switch this time. So it's going to have to rename all the QStar sprite and everything to QStar 2, and then it's going to have to name all of the QStar 1s to QStar, and then load it. And so, yeah, sometimes that happens pretty quickly. And you can see that it's going to load and again, once the game loads, it goes pretty quickly. Here it is, and you can see this one now is actually QStar 1. But here now, when I switch, you can see that it switches here, which one's active. Anyways, I'm just going to quit this. Yeah, I think I have to reboot anyway. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch back to, so I switched to this. I actually also readjusted the screen. And so now let me show you what's going on. So if I look at MDV4, you'll see that the, should do a directory listing. Yeah, you see that we have QStar 2 exists, but QStar 1 doesn't, because that's the last one I ran, and it changed it to QStar. And so that's what the program does. And to show you what mistakes I made, load MDV4 boot, and you'll see that they were simple typos. You know, when you do live coding on a video, it's tough. But so you can see right here, I don't think I put the open one close parentheses for these two, and of course these were copied. And then for some of these, I forgot to put the $sign. So basically, those are the errors that I got. So there was just bunch cascading, and when you do a copy and paste, it works. What if you don't have the ftest, which is part of Toolkit 2? It doesn't come out part of QDOS. Well, I have another program that I wrote, just to show you that even in 1984, June or July, whenever people got their machines, QDOS was capable of doing a file check. It was a little bit more of a rigmarole, and I wanted to show that to you because it's kind of funny how it works. You can see that it's basically, here I just set the micro drive, and then the file I'm looking for, set found to false. So I created an MDV2 dir directory, open it, and then do a directory into it, close it, open it for input, do a repeat loop where I read each line, and if that line is equal to the file name is found as true, exit the loop. Otherwise I do the whole loop, and then I close the file and delete it. The file is called MDV2 dir. So let me show you that this works. I'm going to edit 15, and let's look for QStar 2exe on MDV4, because we just looked at that. And if I run it, it should say yes, I think. Yeah, it should say yes. I put yes right up there. So if I edit 15 and change it to QStar 1, it should say no. And you see it says no right there. And if I edit that and look for QStar, yeah, it says yes. So you can see that you could have done that. Basically, I'm opening a channel into a file. If I had I've shown in my video dynamic RAM disk, and it doesn't take very much. You could do a dynamic RAM disk and then write the dir file into a RAM disk. It would happen even quicker. That's one way. There might be other ways to do it, but in any case, it's kind of a long, but again, code-wise to solve that. In any case, just wanted to share with you some of the cool scripting that exists on the QL, and we use boot files all the time to do these things for. And it gets pretty intricate, but no different from a Perl script, and some cool file renaming manipulations. So that's really what I wanted to share with you today. Yep, so I'm going to wrap up. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you soon.